Coventry is often cited as one of the most haunted cities in the UK, but aren't they all? With centuries of history, from medieval trials to World War II Blitz, leaving a legacy of restless spirits. St Mary's Guildhall is home to several spirits, including a grey lady, a young girl and a monk. Visitors in the Draper's Room often report a sudden, overwhelming feeling of sadness and spontaneous tears. In January 1985, caught on film at an official function, a figure in a hooded gown can be seen plainly, standing a few metres from the head of the table. St Mary's Guildhall has become fairly famous, not just for being haunted, but because Mary Queen of Scots was held prisoner there at one point. There are several spirits who've been connected to the building, including a grey lady, a little girl and a monk. St Mary's Guildhall was built on one part of the original Coventry Castle and is considered to be the finest example of a medieval guildhall in the entire British Isles. Roger Bailey, a Coventry Blue Badge tour guide who lived in Coventry all his life. Roger has worked in the Guildhall as a tour guide in the past, and it has taken many groups through the building. He says he's quite sensitive and often feels presences, but the Guildhall has always been a warm place to him. I sometimes feel there are people there that aren't there. It's something you can write. It's not something you can write down or explain. You just sense you're not alone. I've always been sensitive to it. Roger has had many meals in the Great Hall, and he remembers one moment in particular when he was sat at the upper stage area during a dinner for the Almshouse Ford's Hospital. He was a guest speaker at the event. During the event, Roger felt as if someone else was behind him and frequently looked around, but no one was there. He brushed it off at the time. It wasn't until later, after he saw photos of it the evening, that he realised something else might be going on. 3 different people with different cameras in different locations captured images of Roger with a presence behind him, a shadow, and behind that shadow a wave of life. Roger has shown these pictures to many people and had comments such as, "It's just the angle. The light has bounced off the glass." But I really believe that because each image is from 3 different angles, locations and heights, the light would bounce off glass in the exact same position in each picture. At Coventry Cathedral ruins, some visitors claim to hear the droning of old aircraft engines, a lingering acoustic shadow of the 1940 Blitz. Since the city was levelled by German bombers during the Second World War, some people have reported hearing old aircraft over the ruins of the cathedral. In 1893, witnesses spotted a human arm holding a blue torch in the North Aisle. The arm vanished when one man grabbed a poker and approached it, although it manifested again a short time later. A phantom monk is often spotted near the ruins of the original St. Peter's Priory, adjacent to the cathedral. This figure was so frequently reported in the 19th centuries that residents reputedly fired muskets at it. In 1822, Coventry was actually a county then in its own right. There was a very bad haunting, again amongst the gravestones on the north side of the cathedral. It used to happen in the early hours of the morning. Pretty much everyone in Priory Row complained to the magistrates about it, so he told the watch to keep a special watch out for it. One night they saw it, so one of the watchmen, a George Farmer, described it as a stout man with a stout heart, approached it. A bricklayer called David Dry, but he was a bricklayer called David Dry with a sheet over his head. He could have gotten away with it too if it hadn't have been for those meddling watchmen. He tried to deny it, but the evidence was somewhat overwhelming. He spent 3 months in jail for it. In the early 1890s, one of the churchwardens died, So the choir organist and organist were practising the music for his funeral. Whilst they were doing this, what appeared to be a ghostly figure with a lantern went to appear where the churchwarden normally sat. Not surprisingly, the choirboys were terrified. The adults present were running over to it, at which it moved to the western part of the church and vanished. A rational explanation was there'd been some building work in the cathedral, and the illusion could have been caused by 2 lit braziers inside the cathedral, although everyone thought that was not too convincing. High Street, the original Pete and Tom. Tom was a tailor who looked out on the naked Lady Godiva as she rode through the city to protest at her husband's tax increase. All the town's inhabitants stayed in the houses and did not look. Tom was too curious for his own good and gazed out as Godiva rode past, and was struck blind for doing so. The Golden Cross pub, built in 1583, the pub is a primary stop for local ghost tours. Ghostly figures and strange noises are frequently reported in the kitchen area, which sits atop a former prison cell. 2016 to 17, during renovation work, the landlady of the pub reported banging on the doors, one of which would always open itself. The bar is one of the oldest in the cities and is actually known to be one of the longest alcohol serving establishments in the UK. In terms of ghostly happenings, there have been reports of strange activity. Happenings in the kitchen area, which would at one time have been where the prisoners were locked in their cells. There have also been reports of shadowy figures appearing in this area. The establishment bar and grill is one of Coventry's oldest buildings, so it's probably no surprise that it's one of the must-see stops on any haunted tour of haunted Coventry. Although it's now a restaurant and bar, the building was at one time a medieval jail, complete with gallows and its own cemetery. During the 2010s, the deputy manager was said to be seen on CCTV, a childlike figure looking like they were playing hide and seek. When investigated, no one could be found. A newspaper photographer claimed to have taken a picture of a ghost in the mirror, although the phantom resembles a normal person at slow shutter speed combination. Staff and customers alike have reported lots of paranormal activity, ranging from the poltergeist activity. Court officials and former prisoners have been seen in the bar area, and staff say that poltergeist activity is very common. Customers will often comment on the strange shadows that can be seen flitting around with no explanation as to their source. One of the ghosts who's usually held responsible for the ghostly goings-on in the establishment bar and grill is that of Mary Bell, the last woman to be hanged in Coventry. Gosford Books, during the 1980s, a local ghost walker storyteller says that the bookshop was haunted by children who would stack books in the aisles. The current owner of the establishment says he has not encountered anything during his 36 years running the shop. Spon Street, a female shade was reported to haunt all 3 of these buildings. Witnesses claiming that a short woman wore black and white with her hair up in a bun. The owner of 160 said the ghost would turn on and off the electrical appliances, whilst in 166 the occupier said that the entity smashed glasses and threw stones. Old Windmill Public House, in the 2000s, the pub still contains the memories of former landlords and staff. One entity tried to push someone into the fireplace. The old Dyer's Arms, where objects have been hurled around the cellar, a place the pub's dog adamantly avoids. A cleaner in the back room, abruptly left when her apron was torn off her, spinning her around, and a visitor reported seeing a young girl in the men's lavatory. Swanswell's Gate, Hale Street. In June 2003, 3 men decided to spend the night. here to raise money for charity after they saw a dustpan unhook itself from the wall and fly across the room. Old railway building, currently Horizon Recording Studios, Warwick Road, during the 1980s was haunted by both an art student who died of a drug overdose and by a former rail employee. People recording at the studio also felt something brush past them or breathe heavily down their necks. Disembodied footsteps run down the corridors, whilst lights also turn themselves on and off. Locals say that prior to the Blitz, which levelled a large part of Coventry, all the neighbourhood's cats disappeared, as if they knew what the future held. This town is coming like a ghost town. All the clubs have been closed down. This town is coming like a ghost town. Bands won't play anymore. Too much fighting on the dance floor. And that was Jerry Dahmer's of the specials. Hairdressing salon. A visitor to this quiet salon was using the upstairs bathroom. The door would not close properly, so was left slightly ajar. Suddenly there were 3 loud knocks and the door was pushed open with force. But no one could be seen and nothing more could be heard, even though the area was covered in creaky floorboards. Private residence in Holbrooks. In March 2011, the Daily Mail reported that the family were being terrified by an entity which threw things around the kitchen and opened and closed drawers. A video evidence of a chair moving and cupboard doors opening was less than convincing. The paper later stated that Derek Archie had banished the phantom. Whitmore Park, 1949. Standing almost 6 foot tall, this black dog made itself known to a couple of water workers along Watery Lane, who wisely ran away. Prior to this, the creature had appeared in the middle of the 18th century and was said to note the death of the witness's family. Prince William Henry Public House, Falls Hill Road. In May 2004, the basement of the pub had been subject to phantom music, a laughter and dark, shadowy stranger. A manor house demolished 1964, Wilson's Lane, known locally as a haunted house before being destroyed, but the exact nature of the phantoms at work is not clear. Private cottage, Wall Hill Road, Alice. Between the 1930s and 1960s, occupants witnessed 3 ghosts. 1 woman in white who resembled a nun, a woman in black, and a man wearing a nightshirt, handing a candle descending the staircase. Doors would be opened unaided and footsteps crossed the upstairs landing. The family would also hear rattling chains several times a week when renovation work took place on the roof. A secret room was discovered, that chains hanging from a wall. Treherne Road area, October 1968. A minister blessed his property after a curtain and window frame mysteriously burst into flames. Fire officers were unable to find the cause. On a previous occasion, a lamp had caught fire. Aston Court Hotel, Holyhead Road. Several ghosts are thought to be at home here, including a former cleaner who disliked her job so much that she now hides the cleaning equipment in the hotel. It's believed that there are at least 5 different types of spirits haunting the hotel. These spirits include 2 men, 2 women and a young girl. It's said that the young girl had a particular hatred for men, to the extent that all of the hotel staff refused to allow male guests or staff members to enter one particular room in case they are attacked by the spirit. It's said that she was beaten by a former master and now extracts revenge. A private Victorian house, Humber Avenue, in 1974. An occupier of a house along this road reported hearing twangs of a piano, and if unseen, hand-plucked the strings rather than hit the keys. Terry Road, in April 1994. A very transparent ripple hit a person walking their neighbour's dog, chilling the person with such dread they screamed out loud. It was a week before they were able to sleep properly. Pet shop between 2020 and 2022. CCTV showed items falling from shelving, and customers reported something tugging on their clothing. A ghost hunting group conducted a séance on the site to raise money for charity and claimed to have contacted a former male occupant. Cundon area around B4098 on 12th of December 2011, an 18-metre stretch of the B4098 was left covered in smashed apples after fruit fell from the sky. One witness watched the apples rain down onto the bonnet of her car, while a man living along the road discovered his garden covered in pulp. A mini tornado was blamed for removing the apples from an orchard and dropping them close by, although the orchard remained unnamed. Legend tells of a coach that crashed into swamp on what is now Fletch-Hampstead Highway, drowning everyone on board. The local pub, the Phantom Coach, is named after this reoccurring apparition. At one time I'd regularly pass this pub in my car, completely unaware of the apparition. At Moathouse Lane, Canley, walking along the lane, one man heard wheels moving along the road, followed by the sounds of galloping horses. The witness had to jump out of the way. Other people have reportedly heard farm animals in the area, although none are around. At Wycombe Croft, during summer 1972, while staying with relatives, a witness watched a saucer-shaped object with blue eyes. The saucer was bright metal, and the object hovered for a while before moving off at high speed. The witness ran downstairs to tell someone, but was so shocked they were unable to speak, and soon realised that although the sightings only appeared to last a few minutes, 3 hours had gone by. On the A45, one story goes back to a dark winter night in the early 80s when a man was battling his way through the fog on his way home. His car headlights could barely penetrate the fog for more than 10 metres, but suddenly there was a gleam of headlights heading straight for him. The lights grew close. He saw it was a lorry, careering out of control and heading straight for him. The lorry roared closer. It was clear he had to go out of the way, and fast, and the man was forced to swerve his car off the road. As he crashed into the embankment, he turned and realised the truck had vanished. Several other motorists had reported seeing a lorry swerving through the fog on the wrong side of the road, but no one has ever seen the driver, and every time it has disappeared into thin air. Combe Abbey Hotel is famously haunted by Abbot Geoffrey, a monk murdered in 1345. Other sightings include Matilda, a young girl who allegedly cursed the house, and a phantom horseman. Combe Abbey was originally constructed in the 12th century to serve as a monastery, and it has certainly managed to garner itself a colourful history over the years. It now serves as an upmarket hotel, but it seems that none of the monks have left. There are many reports of paranormal occurrences in the hotel, and many of them attribute to the ghost of Abbot Geoffrey, who was murdered in 1345. His hooded figure is seen walking in the grounds, and he's also blamed for plenty of poltergeist activity in the kitchens. Some have suggested that this could be because he is angry that his killer was never brought to justice. A young green-eyed Matilda, who was a stable hand for the Craven family. The master of the house was quite taken by Matilda and ended up getting her pregnant, but denied he was the father. Matilda's baby was stillborn, and in her grief she cursed the Craven household, saying the children would die young and under horrible circumstances. It seems her words had some weight because several children in the Craven family have indeed died young over the years. Matilda is said to wander throughout Combe Abbey Hotel, and visitors report hearing her footsteps and seeing doors slam shut when nobody is around. There have been several guests who have left their rooms in the middle of the night and refused to return, saying that they're not alone in there. Other spirits spotted in the hotel include a horseman who rides near the lodge house and a woman in Victorian-style clothing riding past the hotel on a bicycle. Old Mill Hotel, located in Baynton, This is a site haunted by a grey lady, believed to be a woman who was drowned under the mill wheel. It's also known for a mummified cat found in the excavations. Removing it is said to bring immediate bad luck until it is returned. The old mill was at one time, as the name suggests, an old water mill. However, it's now a beautiful hotel and restaurant. It is also one of the most haunted places in Coventry. The bulk of the paranormal activity goes on here is attributed to the fact that when the building was still used as a water mill, a woman was apparently trapped under the wheel and apparently drowned. Could she be the mysterious grey lady who's seen wandering around the hotel? Another strange thing about the hotel is during excavation, the body of a cat was discovered. It was promptly removed from the premises, but all manner of bad luck began to befall the hotel. But when the cat was returned, things seemed to go back to normal. The cat was removed several times over the years with similar consequences. The last attempt to remove the mummified cat was in 1999, and for now it has been decided that perhaps it is best left where it is. A429 eastbound connecting Coventry and Rugby. During the early 20th century, a phantom HGV travelling at speeds just before hitting a vehicle travelling in front of it. Another version of the story, dating back to the 1930s, said that the vehicle moved straight across the road, emerging from a hedge before vanishing into another. At Gibbet Hill, pre-1908, a teacher and clergyman travelling by the old gibbet spot watched 20 girls dressed in white pass by. A private residence, Kenilworth Road. The artist John Heritage Peters lived at this site and threatened to haunt anyone who removed a chair from the gallery. The artist died in 1965 and subsequent house owners honoured his wish. When offered for sale in 1988, the house featured in the local press, complete with a chair and associated folklore.